Hello and welcome to Talk It Out, where we talk it out. My name is Duryea Rashad, and I'm so happy to be here with you for another Thursday edition of the best podcast on national internet. Okay, so here we are. It's post-election, so I'm sure that'll come up at some point. But before we dive into the meat and potatoes of tonight's episode, which is going to focus on social media and whether it's a gift or a curse, let me remind y'all, please, let's extend the Talk It Out family. If you're watching right now, please share it onto your page, like, subscribe, add your friends that you think would love this show. Please follow us on YouTube at Woe Nelly Media. You can search Woe Nelly Media. Woe is spelled W-O-E. Nelly is N-E-L-L-Y. You can also find us on Twitch at Daygamer, and you can find us on Facebook as well. Our Instagram is at Woe Nelly Media or at WNM_Talk It Out. So now it is time to introduce our illustrious panel. Returning panelist, Dr. Tanya Davis. Hey, Dr. Tanya Davis. How are you? I think you're muted. Nada. No. Uh-oh, I hear something. Something changed. You moved something and I heard a little something. No. This is funny. No. It's okay. I'm gonna put you backstage and I'm gonna let you tinker with that and then I'll bring you back in. Okay. Dr. Tanya's here though, and she's ready to represent. All right. So instead, I'm gonna bring on my friend who I know doesn't want to be brought on first. I see her backstage, cover her face. All right, it's my friend Kimmy from college and high school. Kimberly Rogers is a wife and a mom of two. She works in the dental field and is the best roommate that Duryea will ever have, apparently. Look, her words though, like really she was a dope roommate, but I have a lot of roommates that I actually still talk to and I don't want them coming from me. So, hey Kim.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I love your hair and your nails.
Thank you.
I love it. You look so pretty.
Thank you.
Still like you're 18. What's going on with you? Anything new?
No. I'm just trying to get out of 2020.
Okay.
Like I saw.
Say what?
I said I'm trying to get out of 2020 like everybody else.
Yep. We almost there. We got like a month and a half.
Almost.
All right. Now I'm going to bring in Mr. Controversial himself. Well, there's two Mr. Controversials, but I'm bringing one of them first. It's Timmy D. I picked him because he was in the middle of eating and I saw him backstage. So I'm trying like just to embarrass all my panelists today.
Bro.
Timothy D. Haas is a pre-nursing major. He wants cookies and ice cream. He lifts weights and takes his wife on dates. Every time it gets shorter and more arbitrary, your blurbs. I love it.
I stick to the important information.
That is the second part was about the cookies and ice cream is the most important. How do you do the sweets?
My wife might argue with that one.
My question is this, because I'm lifting now, but my problem is that I eat a lot of sweets.
Right?
Yeah. So what's the balance?
Good genetics.
Oh, well, that helps. All right.
A high metabolism.
A high metabolism. So I guess I got to just eat more sweets more often throughout the day. Spread it out. You're right. That's right. All right. Next is the other Mr. Controversial, Nicholas. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great.
Nicholas, it's no coincidence that me and Tim are on the show at the same time again.
It actually is a coincidence because I thought this was the topic that most people would like hop on. It was like, actually took a lot for me to get like a full panel tonight. So you two were just like all ready and willing. So y'all are on the panel again. All right. Nicholas is the man who is sure to stir the pot. He voted third party, so you know he likes losing. He thinks Die Hard is the best Christmas movie. Now, it's interesting that you bring up Die Hard because I keep hearing that this is a freaking Christmas movie. I've never seen Die Hard.
It's a Christmas movie. It happens during Christmas. He's only in that situation because of Christmas.
So do you consider Batman Returns to be a Christmas movie?
If it happened, yeah, it happened during Christmas. It's a Christmas movie.
But
That's it.
it's not
That's that
about
simple.
Christmas. It just happens during Christmas. Okay.
I mean, yeah, but Christmas is a part of the story, though. So that I mean, it
True.
counts. It counts.
Okay. So, Dr. Tanya's not back with us yet, so we'll go to our new panelist first. All right. So, new panelist, let's bring this one of our panelists asked me weeks ago. She's like, look, I see the show. I want to do your show. She's a prime example of if you want to get on the show, all you got to do is email us at admin@woenellymedia.com and we will get you on the show. All right. Welcome to the show, Miss Cassie Jones.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad because I've seen you in the comments, and I thank you first of all for supporting Talk It Out, and I'm glad to hear. All right, Cassie is 25 years old. She's retired and creative. She draws, she writes, and she makes music, and she is on a journey to become who God has called her to be. Welcome. How's your week going?
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
How is your week going?
Oh, great.
Great. Excellent.
I was leaving the gym when we was all doing so. Just trying to
Good. That's why you got your gym clothes on.
Right.
Okay. I left the gym about an hour and a half ago. I'm pretty sure Tim was at the gym today too.
Not yet.
You're going later? Oh, that's right. All right. Okay, I got you. All right.
I love it. We got the gym squad up in here.
Okay. I feel like I'm missing someone's. Okay. So let's bring in another panelist who is a last minute step in and savior. Thank you so much for being here, Sequoia. How are you? Welcome to the panel.
Hi. I'm good. How about you?
I'm excellent. Now, Sequoia's blurb is shortened to the point. I love it. Sequoia, also known as Cece, is just your local opinionated sex positive nerd, and I love that. Simple, short, to the point,
Thank you.
supportive. How's your week going?
It's going. I'm
Excellent.
just like Kimmy. I'm trying to make it through the rest of 2020.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, and next, new to the panel is Mr. Alden Burrows. What's up, Alden?
No, what's going on?
Not much. Me and Alden went to college together. Alden has a BFA in performance education certification. Oh, sorry, he has a BFA in performance and an education certification for K through 12, and a GFA production certification for audio from Columbus State University. Recent credits include Ghost at the Alliance Theater, the Motown Sound at Woe. I'm gonna say that wrong. Say it for me.
It's okay. Wolf and Heart.
Wolf and Heart. Okay. Dinner Theater. In Virginia, the Dunwich Horror by H.P. Lovecraft, Georgia Ensemble Theater and ARTC, and Carmen by George Beats.
Wow.
Did I say that right? Bizette. Glow Theater in South Carolina.
Bizette, yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad to have you here, Alden. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Blessed to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
I'm excited. All right, let's try this again. Everyone, it's Dr. Tanya.
Maybe. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you. Perfect.
Oh, great. Good.
Dr. Davis specializes in training and education and has strong feelings about information literacy and Gen X regarding social media. You can follow her on Twitter at Tanya Davis 1975. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is our panel for this evening. How are you? Yes. Okay. So before we hop into the main topic, of course, we have to do our current event. I'll do my quick check-in. I'm great. I'm amazing. I'm really looking forward to this topic because I think it'll be interesting for us to have this conversation. But for me personally, I'm excited about Thanksgiving. I gave my shout out last episode. All the turkeys out there holding it down for next week. Good looks. Whoever's going to be cooking, healthy hands, masks, all that stuff. Good luck. All right. So let's head into our first commercial break to start off the night. Also, be on the lookout for these upcoming projects from the Springer. Just in time for the holidays, it's the Winter Wonderettes, playing December 10th through the 20th, and a premium screening of Home Alone, playing 3 showings on Saturday, December 5th. Head on over to springeroperahouse.org now to get your tickets. And while you're there, check out information about Giving Tuesday and see how you can support your local theater with a donation of any size.
babysitter for your own children because, you know, you're going to need lots of energy to pass out virtually to everyone who's looking down in the dumps. You're going to need to know how to work the Zooms and things because, see, I don't know nothing about the Zooms and the computers and all them things and the FaceTimes and the Google Classrooms and things. And I be struggling, so you're going to need to know how to do that, baby. You're going to need to know exactly what you're doing when it comes to that.
That was the Mompreneur plug and her series of shorts dedicated to what it's like leading a virtual classroom from all the different perspectives. Did we lose somebody? Who did we lose? Alden. Okay. Who'll be that? Okay. So let's start off with current events. This is my favorite part of the show, especially because I have a lot to talk about. So where am I gonna start with? That's where I'm gonna start. Ooh, we got some good ones now. All right. So let's start with Beyonce. Because I love Beyonce. So let's start with her. For the first time in my entire life, I am mad at Beyonce. Do y'all know that Beyonce is sending free Ivy Park boxes to her fans? And I didn't get one?
Free what boxes?
She is sending Ivy Park. Ivy Park is her clothing line with Adidas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. Her clothing line is great. It's beautiful.
I feel like that's rude.
I feel like it's rude too. Like, I'm like, you don't know me by now? Like, what? And then I asked my friend and he was like, oh, it's only for the followers of hers that, like, you know, the people who have like big followings and stuff. So this is what I'm talking about. How do y'all feel about celebrities doing stuff like this? I honestly, even though I didn't get a box, I think it's really dope because y'all know how hard Beyonce's fans go for Beyonce. So I think it's really dope that she like does that stuff for people. And you know, Megan Thee Stallion has that scholarship that's coming out for minority women. I don't know if she's rewarded it yet, but she's rewarding it soon. So is this something but this is the negative side of it. I've had some people I've encountered some people who were very actually like, not fake mad like I am, but like mad that they're not getting boxes or like hating on the people that did boxes. So do you think this causes dissension amongst fans, or do you think this is a positive thing and celebrities should do this more often?
I think it's wild if you sit here and get mad at a celebrity who doesn't even know you for not sending you something.
But people are really out there and they feel like they dedicate a lot of time and focus and energy to following these celebrities and they feel like they should be rewarded.
And
I feel like they should. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think that speaks to some people's sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
They feel like they deserve something, even though we don't deserve much.
I mean, celebrities already give us a large portion of their lives anyway. So I can agree to that entitlement part. How you feel about it, Nick?
Yeah. So with social media, you know, they give us a large portion of their life, but because like Twitter or Facebook, like we can be notified when they post, we can see it like this exact second it happens. We feel connected to that information they give us, not just that we're able to learn about it. Mm-hmm. We feel like we were part of that experience with them so that we are like their friend or that we know them. So I think when we get into social media, I got a lot of takes about it, and celebrities is one of the biggest problems. And this isn't a problem for her giving out free stuff. It's like, whatever. She can give it to all her famous friends. Who cares, right? It's her money. It's her stuff. That's not a problem. People don't know how to handle social media. They follow her. They feel like her friend. She doesn't care about you. She doesn't know who you are. These people like don't understand. Like, are
you telling me Beyonce doesn't care about me?
Well, I hate to tell you, but she has no idea who you are.
These are lies. I don't understand. Who booked him for this show, Ricky?
You made a mistake.
Who booked him for this show?
You might have made a mistake.
I don't know. I didn't do the booking for this episode.
I hate social media, but I use it all the time. So
okay, Kim, what do you think?
I think it's nice that she gives out stuff, but like he said, she doesn't know you, or she doesn't know you. She doesn't care about you. She don't care about you.
Oh, this can't be the theme of the show. I've casted myself into a corner.
Nice if you got one, but oh well if you didn't.
Move on, right? I agree. And like, I think like it actually makes me, as a fan of hers, like respect her more that she's doing, because she absolutely does not have to do that. I'm just kind of stirring the pot. Cassie, what do you think about it?
First of all, yeah, that line is dope. But I mean, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. At the end of the day, I mean, Adidas make way more. I got on some Adidas pants right now. They feel pretty comfy.
Right. Alden?
Hey man, look, you didn't get one, you didn't get one. I can just maybe blow your breath and maybe you'll get one.
Y'all better leave me alone. Everybody camera about to start malfunctioning. I can feel it already. Okay. So then I don't even want to know what you got to say, Tim, but let's go to Tim and see what's going on.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna bring in a hot take because everybody's saying the same thing, and I want to say something.
Okay.
Different. Hey, I think it's awesome. But I think people don't look at it in terms of what it is. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, cool, she's giving away shit," but if she's only giving it away to people that have like millions of followers or hundreds of thousands of followers, that's straight marketing. That's all it is.
Yay.
Because then they repost that shit and it drives more money to her. And I ain't faulting her. I love social media in terms of creating businesses and that kind of stuff. So, but I don't think people look at it like that. They get wrapped up in the I'm her friend and I didn't get it kind of.
I don't mean to cut you off. You can continue. I just want to throw out there the person that this is alleged. I can't say that she's actually only doing it for these fans.
Right.
These are just that my friend said when I told my friend that I was mad, they were like, "Oh, it's just for people who have large followings." But yeah, continue.
No, that's all I was going to say. I know there's quite a few, we say Instagram/YouTube celebrities that have done the same thing when they create like clothing or something like that. They send it out for free to other Instagrammers, and then they market it for them. It's free marketing, basically. Well,
it is free marketing. Well, it's not free because they're giving you product.
Right.
They're giving you product. Tanya, did you have something to say? Because I kind of cut you off before.
Oh, I didn't feel like you did, but I was just thinking through this. At first, it sounds like it's good marketing, but if she were to, there's two sides of what I'm thinking. If she were to lift people up who don't have a large following, that would be really good marketing. But then there's a flip side of that. She's taking a risk if she does that, because what if those people who don't have a huge following suck, and then she's representing them?
Like if they don't have a huge following for a good reason.
Right.
Or there's a risk in that, like, how are people going to know if they don't have a huge following?
That's true.
Kind of sort of thing. I feel like that. Go ahead.
I feel like if you don't have a huge following and then like you tweet something that Beyonce sent you, like I'm pretty sure people are going to be like either, "Oh my God, she sent you this," and that's going to blow up, because you know how people's like tweets and little different videos and stuff like that blow up all of a sudden because of something that's in it. Yes. So I mean, you could blow up off of that alone, but I mean, it also goes back to what Tanya was saying. You could send that to somebody who's like doesn't have a big following and then find out that they're trash. So
right. Okay, well, before we move on to our next topic, which is also a Beyonce topic, if you're watching Beyonce, because I absolutely know everybody on here is saying out, about me. I've been messing with you since No Part 1. Okay, the slow version. So we here, bro. If you see me, I'm gonna rep you all day, every day. I'm wearing Ivy Park every episode once I get my box. So just good luck. Thank you in advance. Okay. All right, so my next topic was this. We're going to talk about this for a little bit. I just kind of want everybody's take. Who's familiar with the versus battles that are going on? Nobody's familiar with the versus battles?
Oh.
I didn't even, okay, right? Kimmy, you know about the versus battles.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah.
So the whole, ever since quarantine happened, I think it started with Timberland. I think it started with Timberland and Swiss Beats. Maybe, okay. But they basically, it was like during quarantine, they would get together and they would play their hits, hit for hit, and who had the better hit. It was like a versus, two artists together. They would have I think Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle did one most recently. John Legend did one versus Alicia Keys. Monica did one versus Brandy. So there's one actually happening tonight. It is Gucci Mane versus Jeezy, and everybody in Atlanta has been debating on all week. And my friend asked me if I was going to watch, and I was like, I'm doing the show. And I was like, plus, the only verses I'm really checking for right now is Jennifer Hudson versus Fantasia. Anybody who knows me knows I want to see that. And the other verses I said I'm checking for is Beyonce versus Usher. And she goes, well, that doesn't make any sense. I would think that's a weird person to put her up against. So my question to the panel is, if you had to pick an opponent to go against Beyonce in a versus battle, who would it be?
I got Mariah Carey.
That's who I would probably
Mariah
say.
Carey? What?
Okay, but like, well, listen
What
though.
about
Listen
Janet?
though.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I can vibe with Janet too. But I say Mariah because Beyonce and Mariah got like, okay, I don't know if Mariah still has it, but she used to have
Right,
range.
right. Well, it's not a live show. It's not like they're singing versus each other.
Oh, okay. I
They're
thought they were
just
singing.
playing hit for hit. It's just they're
Okay.
playing their hits. So yeah.
Well, then, I mean, I feel like Usher could.
Thank you. I agree. To me, Usher dances. He's been doing it just as long as she has. They were kids first, and then they grew into the industry. They're amazing live performers. They're vocally like very similar in what they can do. And they both have a string of hits, not just like one or two. They have like a string of them. So, Kim, what do you think?
That's a good one. I agree with you. That's
With
a
that-
good opponent.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wouldn't
Tom-
have thought of that one, but that's very good.
Because you would think of a woman first.
Correct.
And it doesn't have to be John Legend, Alicia Keys. Cassie, do you have a person?
No, I was thinking of somebody else, but then when you broke it down like that, then I'm like, all right, I can see Usher.
But who were you thinking?
I don't know. Well, Monica already went, so
But you would put her against Monica, huh?
I would.
Why? I'm curious.
Because I mean, Monica can blow really.
Yeah, she
Like,
really can.
She can really blow, and I mean, they got the right amount of hits. I say Monica got just as many as Beyonce and Usher.
I don't know. Beyonce has I don't know. They got a lot of songs. Okay, but I'm not down in your pick. That's your pick.
Now, I
Tanya.
want you on Usher though.
Tanya.
I'm gonna have to. I'm not saying I'm old, but my taste in music is much older than what's current.
Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Okay, I don't remember any of the titles of the songs, but I used to love listening to Queen Latifah. I haven't heard anything recently from her. I don't know if she's still singing or not, but she's an incredibly intelligent woman who could hold her own for sure.
Say it one more time. The person.
Queen Latifah.
You what?
Yes. Have you ever heard her rap? Have you ever heard and watched?
Oh yeah, no.
To some of
I
her
know
lyrics.
No. Okay, so I guess I have to restructure the versus battle.
Oh, okay.
The battle works is like, so then one person would play a song, and then the other person plays a song that they feel like would match that. I love Queen Latifah. I don't think she has enough hit records. That's all.
Oh, okay.
But she can sing and she can rap. And that is also something that Beyonce does. So that's your choice. So we got Queen Latifah, Mariah Carey, Monica, Timmy.
I am not intellectually aware enough to make a comment on this topic.
Yeah.
You can pick like one of your favorite bands.
Eminem.
Hey.
Now, that's not a bad option, actually. Even though he doesn't sing, he's got the hits. I don't know if he has as many as her,
hits.
but yeah, I mean, he definitely has the repertoire. So I'll mess with that. Nick.
Yeah. If I had to pick like same kind of like, time frame of success, maybe same. I think Justin Timberlake might be the man version of Beyonce.
Okay.
He just goes hit for hit all the time, and he just kind of like, he just owns it. I
agree.
I'm never going to be able to make people dislike Justin Timberlake. I tune out. Old lady in there, she loves that shit. She doesn't even know the name of the song, but it comes on and it's bumping for her. She loves it. Me, I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. And that's the same way with Beyonce for me. So to me, they're like the same person. Like, you don't even gotta know the name of the song. You just know, you're like, hey, this is a hit. This is a good song, apparently.
Right. One of the like, have you been listening to a song in the car and then they tell like that? There was one song that I did not realize was Justin Timberlake. It was either that I'm thinking of that Sunshine song, but that's not the one. It's this other song that he has that came out right around the time. One of those happy-go-lucky songs, and it was at the Super Bowl about mirrors or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay, Alden, and I see you in the comments. We're gonna talk about the comments that we just got. Alden,
man, I thought of Justin Timberlake as well, but I mean, I don't know. The first that came to mind was maybe Prince. Prince definitely has the hits. And you can definitely send his own.
now if we're talking about posthumous people, then this is a whole nother conversation. You could have had. Yeah, if we're talking about people who are, because that's a long list if we doing that. Somebody in the comments said Rihanna.
Yes.
I actually was gonna revise to say Rihanna.
Correct.
I like Rihanna. I just don't. This is where I wouldn't pick Rihanna because of the dancing. Rihanna can dance, but she don't Beyonce dance. And the people that do go ahead.
Are we going off the dance moves? Are we going off the singing?
To me, I think it's a multitude of things. I think it's career length too, or like because you look at Brandy and Monica, they came out around the same time. They had the hits around the same time. So I think it's. But if you're going just hit for hit. Yes, Rihanna definitely has the hits. But Beyonce did get started way earlier than Rihanna.
Yeah.
There's that. Okay. Enough with the fun stuff. Let's get down to some politics. So, this week in politics, she does have the hits, Jessica. I'm not disagreeing. Both of them got hits. I'm not taking that. Somebody in our comments, for the people listening, somebody in our comments is like, she got the hits though. All right. So, let's talk about Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer, like a week and a half ago, came out and she said, I think it was just a post that she made that said, wouldn't it be interesting if EBT cards only allowed you to buy healthy foods? And she's been getting a lot of blowback for saying that. Me personally, it may be biased because I like Keke Palmer a lot, but I was kind of like, that actually is really smart. This is why I think so. One of the number one leading causes of death amongst Black men is heart disease, which is caused by poor dieting, but healthy foods cost more money than unhealthy foods, which is why a lot of people who don't have a lot of money don't make healthy choices as readily, as quickly. A lot of people who have a lot of money have chefs, so they don't have to shop or cook. So do you feel like what she said was privileged because she's a celebrity, or do you think that what she said was accurate? I want to go to Alden first.
I agree with what she said, and I'm like you. I think that I think that a healthier option should always be presented. I don't think it maybe should be forced on people's throat, but I mean, as long as it's presented and held to maybe like the same standard as, I don't know, the lowest grade, quote unquote, or the lowest value, I guess, non-healthy
right.
food. Well, if it's like that, if there's the same option as that, and like same cost, or like if there's a discount to where that is at equal value, then I think that it could work.
Okay. Does anyone have a pressing need to respond to this? Does anyone have an idea? Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I'm speaking for myself. Like, I'm pescatarian, so I don't get EBT. I don't have that, and I'm not rich, but it is high. And I mean, that's my choice. I mean, first of all, like I'm a quadriplegic, so I'm in a wheelchair, and just eating, like, for so long I was eating meat, and I was just feeling sluggish all the time. I can honestly say I've been like pescatarian for about 2 years now. I have way more energy. Like, I'm up like before the sun come up. I'm ready to go. But I mean, that's me.
Right. Does anyone, and you can answer this question if you want, the next person wants to speak. Does anyone feel like healthy foods are made cheaper, unhealthy foods are made cheaper intentionally?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's
Yes.
definitely a thing. Just based on like you have McDonald's and stuff, like they don't want to pay for, they want to pay the extra money to get in like fresh foods or like nicer quality, healthier foods because they want to make it as cheap as possible so their bottom line isn't harmed in any way.
Mm-hmm.
But on the previous thing, I did want to say I think it's incredibly dangerous to claim that what she said is like privileged.
Okay.
I do think it's okay that if rich people, we just generalize them as rich people, have an opinion on these things because it's not like she was like always rich. She was a kid at some point, and kids aren't rich. Like even if their parents are rich, like a kid's still a kid. Like like some people, like you still kind of grow up with some kind of understanding of the world at some point, for the most part.
Not all
There's a few
kids who-
exceptions,
not
few
all-
exceptions,
okay.
but I don't. She doesn't like ever have like hot takes like this or otherwise. So you can kind of read into it like what she's saying. There's some truth to it. Like yeah, it would be nice if people could only be able to buy healthy foods. Because in general, that would put people in a lot better place. But it's hard to do is like it's also hard to say like you can only buy certain things because that involves availability, that involves like price, then maybe they won't be able to buy as much food now because like food stamps are they're gonna be affected with how much you get, your quantity, because now your quality's better. I think that she's correct, but I don't think she's 100%. I think there's a lot more to it than that, and
Right.
that's not her fault for not contextualizing it. But let's not like call her privileged.
Right.
Like that's yeah, she was a child star. You're right about that, but like some child stars and stuff, we can take their opinion for what it is, and it's okay. It's not a privileged opinion. I agree with her. I just think there's a lot more nuance to it than that.
I kind of have a hot take on it too.
I love hot takes.
So I got no shame in my game. Early this year, I needed a food stamp card because this year was a struggle. Okay, and like when I was working as a server, I didn't have no money. Like it was a blessing, but like I will say personally, it was easier for me to eat healthier when I had that card. Because it was easier for me to manage whatever money we had coming in plus the card that I had. So I would buy healthy food, and like healthy food can be chicken, it can be fish, it can be like veggies, it can be whatever. It's easy to buy those things. The problem is healthy food is not expensive. It's the kind of healthy food you buy, because I can go and I can buy for example, I bought the stuff to make rice, like it's like a spring roll. I bought the stuff to make a spring roll. That probably tops hit me like $20. But you could also just buy straight up spring rolls, and that alone is going to be like, if you buy good quality ones, maybe $15 a bag. Like you have to, like, if you make your own, it's not going to be as expensive, and it's going to be more effective. So healthy food isn't expensive, and I don't think she's wrong for that kind of hot take. But like I will say, I ate better. Like I ate healthier when I was on my card because I could buy those things. And they do make food that's less healthy cheaper. Like, for example, you go to Piggly Wiggly. Ugh, I cannot speak. You can go to Piggly Wiggly right now and get a 5 for $20.
Not a 5 for 20. Not a 5 for 20.
You can get that 5 for $20.
Right.
And that 5 for $20 is crap meat. Like, it's chicken, it's pork, it's like, and I don't mean good chicken. I mean like chicken, pork, anything. It's crappy food. So like it really just depends. It all depends on your situation and how you want to take it. Because if you want to be lazy, then yeah, healthy food is expensive.
Oh, it seems like you're saying it's more about the choices that you make versus But then that goes to a state of mind. I kind of want to go to Kim and see what she thinks.
I think that healthy food is expensive because our idea of healthy is like the farmer's market and Sprouts and stuff. Like, even if I had an EBT card and I could go to Sprouts, I'm not going.
Why? Number
one, it's no Sprouts around me. But number two, I I don't care to pay that much. Like, I don't feel like it's that big a difference for it to cost that much.
That's me. That's my thing about it. I agree. That's my thing about it. It's like, even if I do get food stamps, I don't want to pay that much money because food stamps aren't unlimited funds. So you can eat more meals if you shop. No, I don't want to say cheap. I want to say effectively. But sometimes, like, organic food is better for you. Wild meat is better for you. Even wild fish. But wild fish, just because it's wild, costs more money. Seafood costs more money because it's so dangerous to get, which I did not know before I saw that movie, The Perfect Storm. Tim, did you want to say? You want to comment on this?
Yeah, so I think the idea behind the message is right. I just think it's misinformed on two accounts. So first, how much you eat is way more of a factor in your overall health than what you actually eat. So, for example, you can eat chicken and rice every day and still get fat. And chicken and rice is bodybuilder healthy, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's more about how much you're eating as opposed to what you're eating. And I think that goes back.
Is it more? So if I overeat chicken and rice, I'll get big.
Yeah, you can still get fat from eating. You could eat salads every day and still get fat, right?
What? You tell lies.
It's just, you just eat too much of it, right? Like,
it's a fact.
How is salad though? What are you getting fat off of?
You gonna eat the
cheese, eggs,
the dressing.
The dressing. Oh,
Yeah.
I actually heard. I talked to a nutritionist. She told me instead of using dressing to use salsa on a salad.
Huh.
Yeah, because it's all vegetables.
Yeah, but even fruits, like everybody's like, oh, fruits and vegetables are healthy, but like you can eat too many fruits and vegetables. Like the amount of calories you eat is way more important than what you actually eat, right? Like, so I think
to eat food now.
I think what Cece was saying in terms of like your choices and what you're consuming is way more important. And somebody said it in the comment section, like healthy foods are only deemed healthy or are only healthy because they're deemed healthy. Like, I eat donuts and ice cream all the time, and I am fit as can be. And so, like,
cookies and cream.
Okay.
Like,
right.
I think it's more, like I said, about how much you eat versus what you eat. And I think the other aspect of it too is you said that is the leading cause of death in Black men. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in America, period. Really? Yeah, one in four people are at risk for heart disease in America, period. It's not a poor people issue. It's an American issue, period. Like, we overconsume food religiously. Like, we love to eat. And a lot of people argue that's why our coronavirus cases are so bad, is because obesity is heavily correlated with coronavirus outcomes. But that's a whole nother topic, and a can of worms and whatever. I think, yeah.
Okay.
Right idea, wrong, misinformed, I think.
Excellent. Tanya?
Well, the original question, if I remember correctly, was it a privileged statement? And I think it is. I know Nick disagrees, and I understand your point of view. Cece, you made some really good points too, but I think if she's used those cards before, maybe she's so far removed from it she doesn't remember exactly what it's like.
Mm-hmm. That's a hot take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Short and to the point. She said right at the end. You see that? Came through just wow. I actually agree with both sides of this. I think it was a privileged statement, but I think doesn't make it wrong. I feel like, yes, it definitely, but I get why, but I think the reason why behind she was saying it was to say, like, maybe she should have said this: hey, people, let's start making better healthy choices. But I don't think they should make that a thing, but I do agree. I think someone corrected us in the comments that it was about making healthy choices either free or less costly if you use the EBT card. I think that would be great. So you're not forcing people to get healthy food, but if they do make that choice, they'll save money. And that will maybe encourage some of them to eat. Anyone who has an EBT card, it would encourage those people to eat healthy. Okay.
I mean, we could talk about the food industry for like that could be a whole show.
Okay. I'm putting it down right now. I'm putting it down right now.
How like
because I have another
large-
comment on this actually, but we can save it for the food show if you want.
Ooh, yeah,
large production companies are the ones that being
Same.
Okay.
Yeah, because after I watch What the Hell,
Man,
What the
who
hell?
the
Those documentaries are so biased, but yes,
True.
they are, but man, it threw me a bit.
Okay, so the next current event we're gonna talk about Candace Owens. Because I love talking about Candace Owens. So at the beginning of Talk It Out, I had just found out who she was when this show first started. And so she's come up on the show a few times because I wasn't sure how I felt about her in context. I know how everyone was telling me to feel about her, but then I watch the videos and I wouldn't see the things that I guess other people were seeing. So essentially, I always felt like a lot of stuff she said I agreed with, actually. I just didn't agree that she said it in the space she was in. Like she would say, oh, I feel like black people are being, what's the word she used? Black people are being brainwashed by the Democratic Party. And I'm like, that's great you feel that way, but you're saying it in a room full of white people, so it doesn't make any sense. If you're worried about the black community, you should be saying it to the black community. Anyway, so her most recent statements were about Harry Styles. Now, this is a very, I think the word's convoluted, but anyway, this is a very loaded topic. I'll use that because I know some people Harry Styles posed in Vogue magazine in women's clothes. And for a fashion magazine, like the biggest fashion magazine in the world, he posed in something edgy and fashionable. And people were upset about it for two reasons. One, he got a lot of backlash because it feels like when transgendered people live their truth, they're so often met with violence. But if a straight man does something like this, it's applauded and as seen as brave. And that seems hypocritical. But this is what we're talking about. We're talking about this next part. But Candace Owens decided to tweet about it, of course. And the tweet she made was, "There is no society that can survive without strong men. The East knows this. In the West, the steady feminization of our men at the same time that Marxism is being taught to our children is not a coincidence. It is an outright attack. Bring back manly men." And as a result, she's been getting dragged online for a while since she made that post. She's been getting dragged by I didn't have time to read the draggings, but I'm there online. So if you want to see Candace Owens get dragged by fans and celebrities, go look that up. So I want to talk about this. I want to talk about everything I just said. So anybody wants to go can go.
Feminist men make us stronger. That's
That part.
yes. Feminist men make us stronger. Men who stand up for feminism, who understand the value of women, they make our society stronger.
Correct.
I agree. Go ahead, Alvin.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think all the men in my family are very strong. And my father told me every day, and to this day, he loves me, whether he says it to my face or in text. So, I think we should just say it more as a society and in general. That's how it is.
I tried my best to.
So
I'm sorry.
Just a question. Why is saying "I love you" considered?
That's the point. That's the point. That's the point. You see what I'm saying? Like people, I don't know. When we talk about like toxic masculinity, affection is seen as feminine by men in our society, bro. What do you mean?
I was on the phone with my dad in front of some dudes in the army. I want to call them friends, but they're my friends, but they did something stupid. Okay. And I was on the phone with him, and when we were about to hang up, I say to him every time, I'm like, "Hey, love you. I'll talk to you later." And he's like, "Oh, I love you too. Bye." And they looked at me like I was from outer space. They looked at me like I was insane. They were like, "Did you just say I love you?" I was like, "Yeah." I was talking to my dad. He's like, "You said that's your dad?" I'm like, "Yeah." I still give my dad hugs.
Like you don't?
Yeah,
like,
but that's the sad part is that there are actually people in this world who can't show affection to their fathers.
A lot of them.
Or who don't get affection from their fathers.
I give my sons a hug and a kiss every day before we go anywhere. If they even if they're going down to the road, just to the corner store, I'm like, nope, bring your little ass here. You better give me a hug and kiss.
Right.
Because if a meteor hits the house and dad gets wiped out, that is not the last thing you're gonna be. Is like, hey, see you. No,
Right.
no, get your ass over here.
But Dad, that's not cool.
You know, I don't care.
But the cool thing
Too
is
bad.
different. I don't mind if you think it. Like if I had a kid, I don't have a kid, but if I had a kid and they didn't want me to hug them because they thought it wasn't cool, that doesn't bother me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
Yeah,
like
that's true.
everybody goes to that. Like I don't think my parents are cool. You'll grow out of it when you're an adult. But if you're afraid or uncomfortable expressing emotion, if you're afraid, because it's like even now, like when we say it, it feels like something we have to like whisper, like we can't say. Like I have one of my best friends is a lot of my best friends are men, and I tell them I love them because and most of them are straight. All of them are straight except for 1, 2. But I tell them I love them. So to me, it is awkward though. It was awkward the first time we started to tell each other that we loved each other because it just felt awkward. It wasn't until honestly in college, and I think Kim might know about this. We lost some people to different situations. People died, and we were very young. The first person that died that I know that died happened my freshman year, and after that, everyone in our theater department, that just became our thing. We would always tell each other we loved each other. Because you don't realize we were like a family, but you don't realize how quick it is. Like it's just you wake up one day and they're gone, and they did, and some of them took their own lives, so they weren't feeling that love. And so when she says that the feminization of men is ruining our society, and then Tanya said what she said, I agree because I feel like this. There is power in the human existence, whether it be feminine, whether it be masculine. There's so much power in both of those things. If you as a man have to feel like feminism is bad in order for masculinity to be powerful, then you should do some rethinking.
I will say, just for the sake of conversation,
Okay.
I do think that she has like one, and Candace Owen, I think, is even. I used to.
Because I love you, Jim.
I was like, what is he talking? Okay. But I think when she has a really good point when she talks about masculine, like strong masculine men. I think there needs to be a distinct difference between allowing men to show emotion and be more open and vulnerable and all of those things that would be defined as feminist, while still also displaying like strong masculine traits like bravado and because I think
bravado actually is false for one. It's a role. It's a thing that people it's a posturing.
Right. Or I don't have the words right now. But
okay.
I'm just saying like the strong stereotypical masculine. I think you can uplift the emotional, like men having emotions and showing emotions without trying to pull down dudes that are like stereotypical.
But there's no one trying to do that. I
feel like a lot of times toxic masculinity is like, crazy. Oh, you're too manly.
So I just want to respond to that, and I'm like on the edge of my seat trying to respond. I'm cutting you off. Right? I'm sorry, because I had someone say that before. Like, but yeah, I don't mind that, but why does it have to come at the cost of attacking masculine men? If that is who you are, then that is who you are, and I love you for it. If that is who you are, if you feel like you have to be that, and you pretend to be that because society tells you that that's what's strong, then I don't support that because that means that something in you hate.
See, and I think I agree with that, like what you just said.
But that's what toxic masculinity is. It's toxic when it causes you as an individual to hate something within yourself that you cannot control. So I love my dad so much. I just want to hug him every time I see him, but I won't do it.
Right.
And I hate that part of myself that wants to hug him.
And I think that messaging, because there's that slight distinction makes a huge difference. And I think the messaging isn't always clear
cut
one way or the other.
I agree. But I feel like that comes through the conversation, because if you're coming into the conversation, because I know people who come into this conversation with your mentality, but they're not trying to hear no other side. They're like, no, y'all just want to tear down the masculine men out there. And it's like, who nobody wants to tear down anybody. We're literally saying like, let people be who they are and feel how they feel.
Yeah.
And okay, does anyone else want to tag in on that one? Sequoia,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Some of the most masculine men I have ever met have they're fully in touch with their feminine side as well.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is they essentially don't give a damn if you care if they wear a skirt or if they wear booty shorts, or it doesn't matter what they wear. And they also not only they're in touch with what it means to feel things and what it means to show your emotions to people as well. I feel like the whole idea of men being like super duper feminized, also it goes into that toxic masculinity where people think that men are so feminine that you can't even express a feeling or an emotion without being considered feminine. No, that's just being a freaking human being. Like, I think
brother's like that.
Exactly. Like, it's just it doesn't matter. And also, if it makes somebody else happy, what the hell does it matter to you if they're wearing a fucking skirt or not? It doesn't matter. I think her statement was bogus. Like, men can be masculine and still like masculine and still be in touch with their feminine side. I don't agree.
So if anyone else wants to speak, I'm about to move on to the next one.
That comment, I did want to address that real quick.
Go ahead.
Society perpetuating it through TV shows like Mad Men and The Sopranos.
Yes.
I want to speak to The Sopranos specifically because it's my favorite show of all time.
Gotta defend your show.
That whole show was supposed to make stuff like that look bad. That was the point. It was supposed to make you not like Tony Soprano and all these very masculine characters. You didn't like the mobsters. You watched it. You were drilled in every day. You wanted to see every episode and you loved it. But you hated them. They did bad things and they made you feel bad about the things they did. It wasn't about, oh, that's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be a big, strong mobster guy like Tony Soprano at the bada bing. No, that was not the point of the show. It made you hate those characters.
The only reason I disagree with you, is because, so like me growing up as a black man in America, one of the movies that you see as a little kid and you see a lot, it's a classic black film. It's called Menace to Society. That movie is supposed to teach young black boys about the dangers of being in the streets. But it absolutely created a generation of kids who wanted to be. They idolized those characters.
Well,
this young man. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert to anybody who hasn't seen the movies. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. The young man in the movie gets everything he could ever want, everything he could need to get out of the life, and dies the moment he decides to do it. Is murdered. So that basically says like it teaches that lesson. Like, you do this, that happens. But it didn't push people away from it because it was still made. I'm gonna say one more thing, because it was still made through the lens of toxic masculinity.
Yeah, but those are meant for like adults, right? Like this media was made for an adult to watch, and me as a parent, I didn't watch The Sopranos as a child. I got to watch it when I was older, but my parents watched it when it actually came out. Now, me as an adult, having watched it and reflected on it, now I know. Okay, now I've done some like introspection. I'm like, okay, like hey, like maybe being that kind of guy is not okay. You treat your wife like crap, she's gonna want to leave, or bad things are gonna happen if you bad things to people. Even if they're bad people, you got to do good onto everyone. You have to be a good person as much as you can be. It's not meant for children. Unfortunately, it does affect children negatively, but that's why we have ratings for TV, like movies and TV. Like, certain things aren't meant for certain ages, or parental guidance is required or suggested for certain things. Parental guidance is a huge thing with a lot of this, especially with social media, which we're going to get into.
I did want to comment on this last comment that someone said, and we're going to move on after this. They said that President Obama was considered weak for crying about Sandy Hook, whereas this is how I feel about men who cry, especially when they cry publicly. That is in this society, that's the strongest shit you can ever do. That's just living, like, to really like live in your own truth in public like that, as a man, being a black man, and you're supposed to lead the leader of the United States. what it said was, I'm the kind of leader who cares about children that I don't even know. And clearly we need something like that, but that's a whole other topic. But I think that's incredibly strong. So, okay, so one more topic before we move. I don't know which one I want to do. I'll go with that. No, I'm not going to go with that. Eva Longoria. Eva Longoria was getting a lot of flack this week because she made a statement about women. I'm paraphrasing, and so the statement was basically she was on an interview talking about Biden being elected, and someone basically said, was talking about the voter turnout in Georgia, and then she basically made a comment. I'm paraphrasing it, but she basically said, people talk about the black women having done the votes, having flipped Georgia, but the real heroes were the Latina women, and that turned into this whole big thing. And the reason people have an issue with it is because of the colorism that already exists within the Latinx. Is that how it's pronounced? Latinx or Latinx? Yeah. Right. The Latinx community, there's a lot of colorism that's already prevalent there. But for her to say that, it perpetuated that already. It feels like, once again, we have a fair-skinned woman who's downgrading the part that dark-skinned women like Stacey Abrams did in actually helping this situation to become what it was. So she got a lot of flack for it. She did come back later and clarified her statement saying, I didn't mean to say that black women were not important. And I don't remember exactly the statement. I should have looked it up. But my impression after hearing her statement was that she put her foot in her mouth, but she wasn't racist. Well, not overtly, but it still speaks to that implied racism that just sits right in the back of everybody's mind because it's so learned by our society. So what do y'all think about the statement? I'll try to look it up while y'all are talking so I can clarify. What do y'all think about the statement? What do y'all think about the backlash?
Especially with as divided as our society is over these last 4 years, and being a celebrity with the responsibility that you have when you have such a platform where you're talking to so many people and they're actually listening. It would have been so much better for her to just give credit to everybody who voted for Biden and Harris.
And just leave it alone.
Yes, instead of segregating people with race or gender or any other demographic.
And that's what I think the guy said. He was basically saying, she should have just said, but she shouldn't have separated. They didn't say she should have just said that, but they did say that she shouldn't have separated the two because it was clearly a joint effort. Mm-hmm. So her response was, Latino men, period. My wording was not clear, and I deeply regret that. There is such a history in our community of anti-blackness in our community, and I would never want to contribute to that. So let me be very clear. Black women have long been the backbone of the Democratic Party, something we have seen played out in this election as well as previous ones. Finally, Black women don't have to do it alone any longer. Latinas, many who identify as Afro-Latina, Indigenous women, AAPI women, and women of other color are standing with them so we can grow our collective voice and power. Together, we are unstoppable. Nothing but love and support for Black women everywhere. You deserve a standing ovation. How do we feel?
I mean, I think we definitely, I agree with her. The way that people are talking about it is definitely, it's the way kind of how African Americans viewed it when they were becoming the majority and things like that. We have to understand that the Latino population is growing, and it is going to be a factor, and that is evidence to this election and the one before that. I do believe the trick is to, which some of the people are getting at now, is they're understanding that the Latin community is quote unquote not monolithic in the way that the African American community is viewed as. I don't think the African community is monolithic. We can get into the bit of that as well, but statistics have shown that they do believe that and vote that way. However, the Latinx community is not showing that and is not proving that. And we just have to find the delicate balance of talking and reaching out to them, because they are a huge part.
I like that. Kim, how do you feel as a Black woman? How'd that comment land on you?
I'm not good at this political stuff.
Okay, cool. I thought you would shake your head like, I'm about to tell you something good. She's like, nope, don't want to have that.
No,
Sequoia,
it's not
CC, do you want
political like
to
that.
tag in on that one?
I got something.
Okay.
This goes into that opinionated part of me.
Gotcha.
So, my take on it is, I mean, I get where she was going. Let me start off with, I get where she was going with that.
Mhm.
I get that she was trying to uplift the Latin community and basically state, hey, we did a great job. We came out, we voted, we did that. But I think, and this is where that opinion comes from, I think it's so easy to not put down Black women, but to kind of diminish Black women in society, that statement to her probably felt normal. Like, it probably wasn't a problem to say to her, and most people, because it's just easy to, it's so simple to say something like that about a Black woman. Not only that, but I think people forget that Black people are Latin too, Latin American as well. So part of that could also be the Afro-Latino community. Like, it's not just 100% Latin American people. Like, there are partially white Latin American people. There are partially Black. There's partially everything Latin American people. You can't just say a statement like that and then
Right. Okay. Anyone else want to tag in on that one? Feel free.
I don't think it matters.
You don't think it matters in what way?
And I say that because if you look at, and I say that her statement doesn't matter because it's
inaccurate.
Yes. So if you look at the voter demographic turnouts in terms of who voted, what racial groups voted for what presidents at certain rates, the only demographic that Trump had a decrease in was white men this year.
Oh Lord!
So
you're really gonna get on here and give white men credit for putting Biden in office?
No. He got the facts, man. He got the facts now.
It's all I'm saying is data, right? Do I think there was huge pushes in the African American community? Absolutely, yes. I think you can see that. Do I think the Latino community played a huge role in that in a lot of states? Yes, I do think so. But in terms of like raw statistics,
but this is what I want to throw at you, Tim, just because he likes to do the statistics game. So you're considering that Trump lost because of the people that didn't vote for him this time, but you're forgetting two very important facts. Actually, just one. Biden is now the one person in history who's gotten the most votes, period.
Yeah.
And more people voted in this election than in any other. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. That's not the point. This election. Okay, wait. Let me say something. Let me say something first.
Let me finish. He was going first.
So then that's the one point. The other point is that this election had the most people vote in it. Period. So what probably helped Biden was that more so than the people who didn't vote for Trump.
Right, but so you just...
I think those people voted for Joe Jorgensen anyway.
You just debunked your own argument, though.
How?
In the fact that, yes, Biden did have the most votes of any president in history, but that is debunked by the fact that this election also had more votes than any election.
It's not debunked. They're both of those statements are accurate. What I'm saying is,
but they invalidate each other, and
they don't make it. No. They support each other.
My statements were based on per capita, anyways. So it doesn't matter. It's percentages. It's not total votes.
Okay, fine. My statements don't invalidate each other. My statements actually support each other. Because yes, he had the most votes in history.
Meaningless.
No, let me finish. Yes, they had the most votes in history because yes, he had the most votes in history because this election had the most votes in history. But what your point was saying, the reason I said those two statistics was to say that Trump didn't lose the election because white men didn't vote for him. Because most of the white men that I know who didn't vote for Trump voted for Joe Jorgensen, bro. So it's not that those votes went
right.
to Biden.
That's still like, but still like, if
We're not
they're not voting for Trump, that's still a loss, right?
We're not giving white men the not necessarily saying that they didn't vote for him. I'm saying, but to say that they're the reason Biden's in office, to me, is inaccurate.
I agree.
But I mean, yeah, go ahead, say what you want to say.
Okay, so Trump this election also got more votes than Obama. So is it fair to say that more people like Trump than Obama?
That's no one said anyone was about liking.
But that's what I'm saying.
Obama was
if you look at total
able to hold the blue of the Midwest twice. It's stuff like that. Which Joe Biden?
I feel like wait. I feel like we're spiraling way off topic. So I'm gonna bring it back in.
Okay.
Because we will end up. But the point was to say that what was the point? Let me look at my list. Yeah, about the Latina women and the Democrats. The point was to say that we get what she was trying to say, and I think her response was great. It sucks that she, and I agree with, I forget, somebody said it on the panel. It sucks that she needed a response anyway, because she should have, we're in a place now where we have to think more about our words. I screw up all the time and I don't say the right words. I don't use the right jargon, but when you do mess up, fix it, like address it and just move on. Okay.
Trump also increased his Latino vote by 7%.
Girl, bye.
He did, especially with Latino
like 7%. That's
listen. At the end of the day, the man. And look, at the end of the day, the man is unemployed now. So
he is.
We don't get so that is what it is. Okay.
Oh, no, not yet.
Man,
we might have to do a whole
okay
coup to get him out, but
we're staying. Yeah. But at this, he done put in his 2-month notice. Okay. All right. So before we head into our main topic for the night, which is social media, gift or curse, let's head into a small ad break.
Hey geeks, don't forget to join us for a new episode of Geeking Out this Monday at 8 p.m. We're giving honor to our favorite shows that ended too soon. You know the ones. So come and geek out with us.
We are counting down the days to closing out the beautiful Frasier. And one of the things that I really love about our projects, because we named them, we built character, they're almost like your little baby, and you're ready to present it to the world. And one of the things where you look at the little details, and then we start to nitpick, and then before you know it, a few weeks turns into a few months, and before you know it, your project is prolonged more than you thought, just for the little details. But one of the things you have to do is just breathe, relax, and trust the process. Know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. And as long as you stay in committed action each day, you will ultimately get to completion. These things and more, we help investors get their start in real estate investing. So contact us, visit us at it'sjessicamyers.com to learn how you can get your start today.
All right, those were ads from Shadowrun missions led by Master of Rem Alternis, which you can find on Twitch at twitch.tv/Master of Rem. That's REM. We do live action role play every Tuesday. I play an elven mage with a black fur all over my body. I died last episode, so I had to be brought back to life. It was very humbling. But I'm new at it, so I'm learning as I go. Yes, Monday we'll probably talk about Firefly. Also, that was an ad from Jessica Myers. It's jessicamyers.com. You can find her at itsjessicamyers.com. Real estate investing. She does amazing projects, motivational. Please check her out. She's a great person to learn about real estate investing from. And we also had an ad from Geeking Out. Geeking Out is Woe Nelly Media's sister podcast, which airs every other Monday. Our new episode is coming up this Monday. We will be doing shows that were canceled too soon. It's going to be dope. All my favorite shows went a long time, so I won't have anything to offer. I'm just being funny. All right. So tonight's main topic is about social media. When I decided to start my own company, it wasn't supposed to be like what it is now. Essentially, it was just going to be something for me to own the rights to my written works. Then, I was like, I want to start a YouTube channel, which I haven't started yet. But in doing so, I did a lot of research. The research that I did, I kind of got blown away by the perspectives of the people who use the internet as a means to do business. They were so positive about social media. There's a gentleman who I follow called Gary Vaynerchuk. His take on social media literally changed everything about how I approach it. I kind of like got on Facebook to just do funny memes, but he made me understand, or he helped me understand, that social media is what you make of it. Some people use it to market their free marketing, free motivation. They put out, they only like positive stuff, so the algorithm only shows them positive things. And it kind of made me realize that social media is really something that you get to drive. You just got to know how to drive it. And I think that's where the distraction comes from. A lot of people don't know how to operate that car. And so they get overwhelmed by the things that happen. I know some, and I'm not saying that everybody, some people just don't like certain platforms over others. And I'm not making an all-encompassing statement. So I wanted to do this episode to talk about it, to just talk about the pitfalls of social media versus the benefits of social media and how it has actively brought us together. Because if you ask me, George Floyd would not have caused the reaction it caused if it were not for social media, period. So let's open up the floor to comments. Anyone can go first.
I keep going first. I don't want to go first.
No, go first. It's fine. It's fine.
I got it. All right, I'll go first. So you said the last thing you mentioned was the George Floyd.
Yes, I don't think it would have gotten the reaction that it gotten, including COVID. If it wasn't during COVID and if it wasn't for social media, it would not have gotten the response.
So just like the Black Lives Matter movement, the idea that our country is shifting culturally about how we treat certain minorities in the country. Social media is driving that, but therein lies why it's a curse. Because a curse, there's something good can come with it, but inherently there's also going to be some bad stuff with it. All the good that it does us, right? There's an equal amount or more of just filthy hatred crap that comes out of social media. Like, people are addicted to it, so they go looking for things like the George Floyd deal or like the Breonna Taylor stuff, and it instantly gives them access to people who feel differently from them, and they want that, and they seek out these things that'll make them feel bad, these negative opinions or negative emotions, and then they just compound upon that, and they find more things that are negative, and then guess what? They become negative people. And they go post horrible things on social media. It doesn't happen to everybody, but there's a lot of people that go and they start off okay, like, hey, I'm using social media for news, and now all of a sudden they're commenting on someone's post like, haha, you're ugly, you're bald, you're fat, or stupid, or something. And they know they're gonna get away with it because nothing's gonna happen to them. Right. And it's a curse. So we get we're able to quickly find out, like, dude, that cop murdered that guy.
Right.
And then, while on the other hand, we're also able to post a nice family picture, and have no idea what's going to happen there. If you have a good number of followers, or you just happen to get it shared, or there's something goofy about it, and all of a sudden you're a meme on the internet. That does untold amounts of emotional damage to somebody, and that's on an individual level. I have that's my big issue, is the individual level, not so much like the grand scale of effects of social media, because usually that's mostly positive, but the individual human is woefully negatively affected by social media.
Okay. I like what you're saying. Oh, I'm sorry. Someone's about to go. Was someone about to go? I swear somebody was about to go. I'm going crazy.
I think you heard me say shush to my dog.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess so. I think that when it comes to social media, I don't think that it's the problem. I think that if you're that type of person, you're that type of person. I don't think that social media creates monsters. I think it might bring the monster out of people.
Exacerbates them.
It's all, but I feel like it are. Go ahead, Tanya.
It feeds them. You're absolutely right. And Daria, you said something that made me think. I didn't think of it from this perspective before. Using social media to get the message out of something that is either extremely horrible or extremely great. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. But in my personal experience, I have too many people on Facebook who I just completely disagree with. I feel like I'm a black sheep in my family, and I have too many people who I love and respect telling me how I'm wrong or saying things that are completely embarrassing to me. I have to shut down Facebook. I went to Twitter, and I give props to Twitter for filtering some of the crap that's out there. And then I can choose people who to follow instead of just having it open. I know that you can block people on Facebook too.
Because that's my best friend. Bloop, bloop.
Yep. But I can choose all the scientists I want to follow and then follow facts and people who respect truth.
Y'all realize she's shading somebody right now. Somebody somewhere is getting shaded. Just
somebody,
a little
bit. I don't
know. It's interesting to me because I want to ask this as a question to everybody. Does anyone on here have a person that's in their life that I have a person in my life who I will not be friends with on Facebook? I actually blocked them on Facebook and I will not unblock them, even when we're on good terms. And they're like, oh, now that we're on good terms, will you unblock me? Hell no. I don't want to see nothing you post. And I'll tell this to their face. Does anyone else have a situation like that? Or are we all the people that if we have to deal with them in real life, so I can't block you because you're my brother-in-law or my whatever? Does anyone else? So how do y'all feel about blocking?
You just unfollow them. You can't see what they post. You're still
on Facebook. It doesn't. But no. I'm talking about. I don't want you to see what I post. I don't want you to comment on nothing. I don't want to ever see.
There's no contact.
Because for me, Facebook is my favorite place to be. Like, if I could, I would just sit all day and post memes and talk shit with my friends. Because that's what it is for me. Like, my friends come onto my memes. We laugh about stuff. We have a good time. It's a great space to be in. I don't want nothing coming in that space that's going to be negative. You know what I'm saying? Because there's enough of that you're going to see at the grocery store, at the bank, on freaking CNN. So that's my place to just key with my buddies who I can't be physically with. So I'm very protective of my social media.
And that's part of the problem that I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
But that's part of the problem that I find on social media is that when I see somebody that posts some ridiculous stuff, and I'm talking about family members, friends, whoever that are friends in real life, not virtual friends, they feel like they have anonymity, but I know who they are. And then I've got to go look at them in their face after they've posted something stupid. Mm-hmm. And other people see that too. And I'm just like, I'm better off not looking at Facebook. I just go to a platform where I follow a bunch of people I don't know in person. Mm-hmm. And they're usually scientists of some flavor. And then I can deal with life a little easier. Mm-hmm. Because they can't handle the fake anonymity that they have. They think it's okay, and it's not.
CC?
I used to be the kind of person where if I knew you in real life and I saw you in face to face and you sent me a friend request, I'd accept it. And even if you said some foul stuff, I'd keep you on there and just not pay attention to you. But I can't do that anymore. It breaks my peace. And look,
right.
My peace is already broken by society in general right now. So ever since I started hardcore protesting, not just for Black Lives Matter, but for abortion rights, all that kind of stuff. Once I started hardcore protesting and it started weeding people out, I don't have time for how you feel, not just how you feel, because I can deal with a light argument. I'm cool with that. But I can't deal with a toxic argument. I can't deal with someone who doesn't want to hear what I doesn't want to healthily go back and forth. Exactly.
Yep. And so part.
I'm quick to hit the block button now or just unfriend you because I don't want you in my space. Yeah. I don't want you to know what I'm doing or anything like that. Especially I personally believe in energy that people can put out into your life. And so if somebody doesn't like anything that I'm saying or the things that I'm doing or anything like that, I really believe that if they just speak that kind of like animosity onto my life or something simple just because they don't agree with what I say, I believe they'll still affect my life. So I don't have time for that. I'm just deuces.
And CC, I'm willing to bet that doesn't mean that you're in a bubble of just your own beliefs. You completely go out there and understand other people's perspectives still and research stuff.
Exactly. I will literally sit there, and if I don't believe what you're saying or I don't understand, I'll do just like I think his name is Tim. I want to say your name is Tim.
Yes, it's Tim.
Okay. I'll do exactly like him and hop on Google because Google is free and pull up some facts.
I got 4 Google windows open right now.
Me too.
You brought up Beyonce. I was like, what happened with Beyonce?
I wanted to know what happened with Beyonce. I was typing in Eva Longoria. Like, I want to know the facts. I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with you. And then if I give you facts and you want to hear it, like, what's the point of you being here? I don't have time for it. I value my space.
Right.
Like, I value my sanity.
Kim, tell me about.
What's the saying, though?
Go ahead, Alden. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, what's the saying? What is it? There's no such thing as bad publicity,
right?
Or bad press. So like,
no.
So like, I mean, to them it doesn't matter. Like they're just getting the word out, whether it's bad or good. To them it doesn't matter as long as it's out there for someone to mull over and just to get the mind turning. Then they've done it.
But see, that's toxic.
Like,
that's toxic as hell. Because what ends up happening. No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying like it is toxic and that's what it is. But I mean, some people that like their adrenaline. That's their enjoyment and that's their fun. That's their pleasure of it. Like look at the Joker for an example. Or
yeah, they don't have to have the anxiety of being in front of another human. So they get the attention they seek from those people. So they get the likes or the reactions, even if it's a negative reaction, negative. It's just so that they're still getting it, and they don't have to see that person face to face, or all these random people that are laughing along with them or hating what they said. They're still getting the reaction. They don't have to deal with the anxiety, and then they all dogpile, and it just turns into just everybody cannibalizing everybody, and then a bunch of reaction gets everybody all fired up, and then that's what people seek out. That's the negativity that people want. They don't care about all your look at my new baby. You know what they want? They want you to post a picture like your weight loss stuff, and then people make fun of that. Or they want somebody to post like their political opinion, and it's not the political opinion of one person. And they dogpile it, just dogpile that person because that gets the reaction that they're seeking without having to deal with being in front of people.
Just go to your local neighborhood watch page, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
I guess for me,
wait, are they that bad?
What, neighborhood watch pages?
Yeah. I just got invited to our because we just moved into a new neighborhood. I just got invited to it.
Yeah, you want to get on that.
You're horrible.
All right, hang on.
Yeah.
So to me, I kind of want to ask Kim this question because I think she has a pretty, in my opinion, pretty peaceful social media existence and what I've seen from the content that she puts out. So how do you keep your social media? I'm assuming it's peaceful. So confirm whether or not it's peaceful. And if so, how do you maintain that? How do you manage that?
I mean, I just don't deal with negativity. If you're negative on social media, that means you're negative in real life. So we're not dealing with each other.
So you don't have people in real life that it's both for you. It's online and in real life. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but okay. So let's say, for instance, you follow a celebrity, right? Because I feel like that's cool for your friends list. But everybody has a celebrity that they follow or something, a group. That's where you can find some crazy negativity and that's where you might, because it's like, I remember I had somebody tell me I wasn't a big enough Beyonce fan once and tried to go in on me. For real. I've never been able to see her concerts because of I can't mortgage my house for one. And but for real though, because I can't afford it, but also, when she's around me, I'm usually not able. so I haven't gone yet. But I'm saying, like, I've had some really negative feedback. I had a dude on a geek website I was on tell me, you know, that like some other horrible things about me and my lack of knowledge as a black man about black things, and he didn't use those words. But my point is, what do you do in those situations when you are around negativity in that way? Do you just ignore it, not respond? Because sometimes if a troll is ready to troll, they're going to troll.
I wouldn't feed the troll.
But
oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Kim, that was yours.
But
I'm sorry.
You know them. No, but you know them, right? This troll?
No, I don't know the troll.
Oh, so I don't read comments. Like, I'm not big on reading the drama. I don't care.
Really? Oh.
I posted.
That's what somebody in the
like
somebody in the chat just said that. I'm sorry, keep going, Kim. I'm gonna cut you off. Go ahead, man.
I will block you. No, I will block you. And move
Oh,
on. I don't
okay.
care.
Someone in the chat asked the question to the panelists, and I wanted to ask the question as well. So the question was, how does the panel feel about local businesses and how they handle social media fights? What do you mean by fights? Social media fights? Is that supposed to be rights? I'll start with the first half of it. Well, the way I feel about local businesses using social media, I feel like it is a double-edged sword, because you are still gonna have, like, no matter what, when you're trying to do something positive, somebody's gonna show up and be not positive. And when you're in a business, you have to be professional because you're representing your brand, your business. I have to think about that all the time. Like, sometimes I'll be going in on somebody and not realize I'm signed in under Talk It Out, and I have to be like, oh, let me change my sign-in. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's difficult. I think it's very difficult for businesses to manage that. I think they just have to, like, especially if it's like, if you're a business that does a direct service and the comment is in reflection of your service, because you still have to be, you're getting a comment from a disgruntled customer. You need to be, what's the word I want to use, y'all? You want to give that the weight that it needs. You want to give it the attention that it needs, but at the same time, you just don't want to get dragged on social media over and over and over. So I actually don't know what local business owners do in those kind of situations. I would assume they just don't respond, or they make like a general, like, thank you for your comment. We'll be sure to put that there, something like that. Anyone else want to tag on that one?
I officially have my own business, and I did post on social media for a long time, and I got some pretty good hate mail over it. Some of it public, because even though I'm atheist, I'm also an ordained minister, so that I can perform weddings for gay and lesbian couples and couples of any religion. I marry absolutely anybody. So I got a lot of, especially in was it about 2016, 2015, right before gay marriage was made legal across all the states. Right around that time frame, I had a lot of people from Texas where they would see my advertisement pop up on Facebook, and they would send me all kinds of stuff, public and private, and I directly addressed it. I had to stand up for the people that I was servicing, and especially the gay and lesbian community, especially at that time, because it was brand new to all of the states with, hey, this is now legal and you're allowed to, and you have somebody on your side that will marry you if that's what you want. And so I had to directly address it. I think I still stayed professional, but I called them out.
Sometimes you have to deal with hate straight on.
Yep.
It's sad, but it's true. How does the panel feel about self-love and social media? Because to me, I feel like social media, it can do both. Like, I've found sometimes on social media, like scrolling, I've seen something that's like so uplifting for me when I feel like shit. And I'll scroll past a meme like, hey, buddy, don't feel like shit. And I'll be like, I shouldn't feel like shit. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you also have like the whole IG thing where everybody's beautiful and perfectly proportioned and the pictures are at the right angles. And how could I ever measure up to that? So how do you feel about how that weighs out? Like, is it worth it or not?
Man,
I
go
think,
ahead. I've talked a lot. Go ahead.
I think that it has huge detriments to, let's say, like teenagers or young adults, because they haven't gotten to the point where they're, and granted,
Yes.
even some adults aren't to the point where they're fully assured in who they are and what they look like, and having a good relationship with themselves, their body, etc. And then they go on Instagram and just like follow Kim K and all the Jenners and whoever else it may be that, yeah, they probably do look good to begin with, but then like on top of it, Instagram just allows them to look even more symmetrically perfect, which is impossible. But and then they just shit on themselves. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the huge downsides to social media. But I think, like you said, I think there are a lot of other times where people get a lot of positive benefits out of it, whether that's just seeing the right meme at the right time and getting a laugh and cheering up for the day, or motivational pages or whatever it may be.
I agree, and I was going to say something similar in that it's a dangerous thing, because as powerful as it is to cause good, and like if you're having a bad time, or something good does happen in your life and you want to share that with people that your friends or your family you don't speak to every day. Like recently, I've got a job that's post Army. I'm very excited about it. I posted on Facebook to let everybody know, like, hey, if you helped me out or you gave me any words of encouragement, if you got me to this point, I appreciate you, and everything like that. I got a lot of responses back, a lot of love for it, and it made me feel good, because you can't talk to all these people and you'd like to tell them about it anyway. So that was good. That's one of the positive things of social media, and especially if you keep your social media very clean and peaceful. But on the other hand, there's things, it's like I see other people going through things that they're like going through really good times in their life, and things are really positive, and it doesn't affect me as much, but I have the perspective to at least say, like, what if somebody's going through a bad time? They're not catching a lot of breaks, or, like, especially like in 2020 right now, and they see these other people whose lives seem to be in almost perfect condition. Like, what does that do to the impressionable mind? Like how does that affect somebody that's either young or, even an older person? Not everybody handles everything emotionally the same way. Like, how does that affect those people? And I feel really bad about that, and I wonder, I'm like, is that okay? Like, should we be as open with our lives when things are going as good as they are for us as we are? Should we share all of that? Should we try to keep that within and keep almost like a sense of like humility and like being humble, and when things are going well, so that way people who are less fortunate, they don't see that and they aren't affected by it, because it's almost a little bit of a brag, not intentionally, but almost works that way in the same sense. And so in effect, I guess it does affect me. It does make me feel bad, because I'm like, what if somebody else isn't as lucky as that person and they see that? It does make me feel bad in a roundabout way. And I think that's social media. That's the self-love, like the danger of, if you seek affirmation or you seek some love from social media, you're also playing with, you could do harm to yourself. You could find the opposite of love in yourself by just seeing other people's happiness.
I actually like to speak on that.
I think like so let's do Tim, CC, Alden.
So Nick, I think you just brought up a really good point, and I think if anybody follows the podcast, I've talked about it on here, but like my wife and I were relatively unaffected by COVID in terms of employment and in our life and stuff like that, just because her job security, she works in the military and has really, really good job security. And so we bought a new car, we bought a new house. We've had, like, in terms of 2020, we've had a really, really good year personally, right? Like, and neither one of us have posted about any of that on social media, because we were both like, fuck, this really isn't like a good time to talk about that. And while, yeah, like I would love to tell everybody I got a new house and stuff, and all the important people in my life I already know anyway. So like,
I'm not important.
Bro. But I think, Nick, like you said, like having the awareness of when to post and what to take out of the post you're seeing is really important.
Yeah, I just want to highlight this comment before we go to CC, the one you just had up. It says, so too much of a good life is bad about others. I disagree with you, Nick. It can also motivate others. So I personally agree with that comment. I get what you're saying though, but if people live their lives like denying themselves of their joy so that others don't, it's different, so that others would feel good, then everybody would just have to be down all the time. I think what we should do as a people, humans, is when we're feeling good, share that. But sharing it is different than boasting about it.
Yeah, I think because social media brings us closer when we're so far apart, we have to start to implement real world, like if we're in the same area, like if me and you were in the same room together, we have to implement the same social norms in that space. Like reading the room. I'm not going to go into a funeral home and start talking about how happy I am that the Cowboys won a game. Now they don't do that very often right now, but if they did, I'm not gonna be excited about stuff like trivial things like that in front of other people who may be mourning at the time. Now that's an extreme case, but I think we can use that in social media. Like, hey, look, people are going through some really tough times right now, more so than probably in our lifetimes outside of like 9/11, right? Like this is strange. It's a really hard time for people. I think we can limit or at least proofread and make sure that what we're saying doesn't come off as tone deaf or having a lack of empathy or sympathy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying don't post about a lot of things, but like read the room, like understand the situation that others may be dealing with. And I think that kind of self-reflection does a lot of good for everybody. You know, like understanding like, hey, maybe instead of posting or celebrating what I've done, maybe I should try to offer somebody some support or some words of encouragement directly or you know, just speaking generally, not saying specifically what happened. I don't know. It's just a situation where I think we have just neglected what social norms were before social media, and we've not even tried to implement the same things into social media. And we always compare it to, it brings us closer together. So why are we not acting the same way we would if we were in the same room together? That's my whole point. That's kind of what I'm getting at when I say something like that.
Okay. CC?
Okay. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. As far as like sharing your good moments and sharing like okay, so for example, earlier this year, I had a miscarriage, and I shared when I got pregnant because it was supposed to be a miracle, and I shared when I lost it. And I myself am very open about, you know, the bad things in my life as well, because the thing is, a lot of times that stuff is not talked about, and because it is not talked about, people feel like it is taboo. And so when you do talk about it, there are a lot of people that feel like you're a downer, or you are always talking about the bad things in your life. And I feel like it's good to have that balance, first off. But second, like, I don't think even so, we know that every damn body got pregnant this year. Everybody.
My best friend just got pregnant. That's so funny.
And I literally have had to deal with all year after my miscarriage, seeing all my friends drop their pregnancy announcements. I'm happy for them. I am. And they know that I've lost mine twice. I've lost 2 babies. They know that I've lost mine, but I don't expect them to not post that they're pregnant just because I lost mine. Does it hurt? Yes. But that is something that I personally have to deal with. It does not mean that everyone around me should cater to me simply because I have had a situation happening. So I feel like it's a double-edged sword on what you post and what audience you're posting to as well, especially since, you know, if I were to sit here and talk about, you know, I sit here and I talk about my miscarriage and very, very like in depth, or I'll talk about my mental health in depth, because these are things that are very important. And there are some people that view me as a negative person because I put that out there, like, because I talk about, those kinds of things. And that's like and then there are other people who think that that's a great thing and that it helps them out that I talk about it because other people don't talk about it.
That's
so it's a huge double-edged sword, and it really just depends on who's your audience.
We're gonna go to Alden, and then after Alden, we're gonna respond to that comment that you have up on the screen. I just did want to say that I thank you for sharing that right there. We've had a lot of people share some really personal things on this show, and I'm always a proponent of that. The stuff that people are willing to share that's awkward to share probably needs to, because you're definitely not the only person who's dealt with a miscarriage. You're not. So yes, I really appreciate you sharing that, and I'm glad that you feel comfortable sharing it. All right, Alden.
Indeed, yeah, that's powerful. Seriously, I don't know if I have the strength to say something like that, so publicly and things. But getting along with it, I don't really use social media. I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I posted something before Georgia went blue. To be honest with you, like me physically post something on social media.
Right
now, like you can see what I'm doing because people will tag me in it. I have it. You can always tag me, to my tag and I'll give it to you. But in terms of me posting it, it's very rare. Does it bother me? No. Do I think that other people are bothered by it? Absolutely. Especially with the nature of the business that I'm in. Like I get a gig, but I don't like post that I got that gig or like promote that gig. It hasn't gotten me in trouble, but it also hasn't kept me from getting that gig. Hasn't kept me from getting that gig or doing well in my job. So I definitely see that as a double-edged sword, but I'm definitely seeing new ways of using my social media, definitely through 2020 and with the time and everything that I have. But I guess my problem is I don't want to use it every day. And I feel like that's what I'm going to have to do, is use it every single day. And I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to
just get really rich and then you have somebody else do it for you all day. I get what you're saying.
Everyone can only be so lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, because you're definitely in the industry as a performer. You're definitely in an industry where social media is just, it's part of the ticket now. Like, and then what's interesting is I think people can tell when celebrities are celebrities and when they're bots, and I think that affects how they get responses and what kind of followers they get and how that affects their bottom line dollar. But good night, Jim.
Absolutely.
But go ahead.
Go ahead. One quick thing about that, just a sidebar on celebrities and stuff. Sean Lawley got a chance to meet the great John Lewis before he passed a couple years before. And when he met him, he lived in John Lewis's district. And, he was a young guy. And John Lewis asked him, do you follow me on social media? And John was like, yes, I do. I do follow you. And he asked him, he was like, I want to know if you know which tweets are mine and which ones do I have like my aides do. And Sean was like, oh, I don't know. Like, can you give me a hint? And he's like, sure. He was like, if you ever saw or see me post anything about cats, it's me. Because I have a lot of stray cats and like I take care of my cats when I'm in DC. My son has come to my house and take care of my cats. But he's like, if it's not cats, 9 times out of 10, it's probably not me.
That's
but
funny.
I just, like, yeah.
Nice little story.
That's fun.
So, I mean, to me, I think, but that is very, very true. You can tell when it's actually a person and when it's not. Or when it's that person and when it's not. So I'm hearing somebody typing. It's okay.
Me, I'm sorry.
I don't know how I can hear that all of a sudden. That's so weird. Somebody says your cat should have a social media account, Tim. Since the first moment you got on camera.
My cat is the most annoying attention whore animal I've ever. He's literally sleeping at my feet.
Love me.
If I go to another room, he follows me.
He's like a
it's so
dog
bad.
then.
Bro, we have 2 dogs, and I think that's
That
why.
is why.
He sleeps on Tina's face.
That's funny.
Like literally on her face. It's hilarious.
Okay, I want to speak about this comment. It said, speaking of miscarriage, how does everyone deal with emotional triggers on social media? And I think that's a really good one because I've actually had some people tell me that this show is emotionally triggering sometimes when they pass the like titles that I use, which I didn't know, but and I understand, like I think I'm getting used to the whole idea of triggering people. So, and this will be our last one before we go to final thoughts. So, how do you as a person deal with either encountering an emotional trigger online? Like when you see it, do you say something about it? Do you just keep scrolling? And how does that work for you in maintaining your peace?
I feel
Personally,
I gotta have Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. Go ahead. I talk too much.
I filter it, to be honest. I mean, I don't look at that, but you know, I don't look at that all the time. But I think some of it has to be viewed to stay well informed. Like you have to know both sides of the argument or the coin to have a full picture of it, or like have an intelligent opinion about something.
Okay. Easy.
It depends on the severity. It depends on my mind state at that time period. It depends on what type of trigger it is. It just depends. And personally, if I post anything that's triggering, I'm putting a trigger warning in front of it. Like, and then I'm giving you a lot of space before you actually read what I'm putting. But also, sometimes you can't avoid triggers, or sometimes they come so quickly that it's not possible for you to avoid it. And so, like he was saying, sometimes it's healthy to not completely take it out of your life, because then you just put it in a box and you don't deal with it. And I feel like it's important to deal with it. Otherwise, you end up with grown people who don't know how to express their feelings or don't talk about things that are important to talk about, or they end up harming other people. Like, so it's important to at least deal with it on some level. But I mean, some of it you can't ignore. Some of it you can't filter out.
Very true. Kim. Kim?
I was muted. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I usually like get off of social media, like, okay, take a break and find a friend to like talk it out with. I feel like Cece was saying, it's important to deal with it in that moment, so you can like explore everything that you're feeling and, you know, move on.
But that's very self-aware though, because I feel like for me, I think I'm two ways with what Cece said. For one, I never know when I'm gonna trigger someone else. Like there's certain stuff I know not to say, but generally the times that I feel like I have triggered people where they've let me know that, I had no clue that what I wrote would be triggering. Luckily, they know me well enough as a person to have felt comfortable enough to tell me in private, like, hey, that was triggering. And they know that I'm the type of person that would never want to trigger someone, but I have no idea how to filter myself in that way. But also, as far as me being triggered, I am that dude that once I'm triggered, and I don't know if it's just like the way I've been brought up, or I see you in the comments, the way I've been brought up or anything, but me, when I'm triggered by something, I'm like, I'm going to spearhead it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to either force myself to deal with it, or I'm going to just force myself to deal with it. Okay, somebody in the comments expressly asked for Tanya's opinion. I'm not sure why, but let's go.
I can only imagine. I straight up practice avoidance, because if I get involved with it, I'm going to end up saying something that triggers somebody else. I'm just going to I'm not going to purposely egg on a fight. I'm going to try to prove a point and try to help them understand a more liberal perspective. And most of the time, the people that are on my social media, they're not liberals and they don't want a liberal perspective. They want to be in their own bubble and they want to just feed each other with the craziness. I'm not talking about everybody, but there's a lot of them. And I don't need that. I can just go to Twitter and follow the people I like.
Right. Okay. Beyonce has a rule: don't look at comments. Well, I'm sorry, B, I can't help it. Okay. I like the comments. Comments to me are I'm learning.
Give me the popcorn.
Right. I'm just learning which comments to address. That's what I'm learning, and which not to address. So let's go to Callie. I'm sorry, Nick, and then we're gonna go to Tim. I'm sorry, I just had a flashback to like 5 years ago.
No, you're all right. My emotional trigger, the way I handle emotional triggers right now, kind of what I've been going through for a couple of years since I got back from the deployment, is just any post that involves usually Afghanistan, but mostly just any kind of like foreign policy with the U.S. that involved like wartime efforts, things like that. If I see a post, I like instantly have to read the comments, because if I know there's going to be somebody speaking completely uneducated and idiotic about the matter, and my perspective changed when I was there and when I came home, and then now I just instantly have to go defend whatever it was. If somebody says something stupid, I almost just fully embrace it, and then I just go and I have to like let it out. It's not right. I definitely recognize that sometimes probably commenting back is just making it worse. But I do feel like if I bottle it up, like if I read, people, they're talking about, oh, we're withdrawing troops, and somebody's like, yeah, good, it's a godforsaken place, we should never have been there. I just think back to the Afghans I met, the ones I'm still friends with, that I get emails from, that I get text messages from, the ones I worked with, and I just can't allow. I just don't allow it. I just don't put up with it, and I just have to tell that person, whether I know them or not. I just tell them they're stupid. I just let them know why, and that they need to have some perspective on the world. And that's just I deal with my emotional trigger by going headstrong right at it. And I'm not even afraid to say it. I'm actually I'm not even ashamed. I almost live for the confrontation of somebody saying something dumb about somebody and then think they're going to get away with it. And it's those people aren't looking for reactions that are negative. They're not seeking like Twitter trolls. These are like people on Facebook that are like actual people who think they're actually voicing some opinion that is like factual or, morally correct or something. If they're living by some code that's like, it's okay to say that, like, that is not okay. Like it's not all right to feel that way, like, especially if, you don't have the thought like, oh, we were never supposed to be there, and you hate everybody from Afghanistan and stuff. But like, men and women died there. So it might've been a little bit important. You might want to show some respect because, we had people that willingly went there and died for those people. So I don't know. Most people shouldn't do that. I don't recommend dealing with your emotional trigger like that, but sometimes letting it out, sometimes using social media as a venting tool, like whatever, because at the end of the day, like 24 hours from now, I'm not even going to know. No one's even going to look back at that comment. Nobody's going to react to it. I'm not going to get a notification about it. It's over. It's done. But in that moment, I let it all out. I let that guy know. Maybe he sleeps on it. Maybe he loses a couple hours of sleep. Whatever. Doesn't bother me. But I got my frustration out. I dealt with it. And
I disagree, and I agree.
Take it home with me.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's good. That's it.
I disagree. Before we go to Tim, I disagree and I agree. I agree that in certain instances, absolutely, let a motherfucker know, and that is one of them. Like when people are talking, look, I'm not a proponent of war. I literally am like peace, hippie, love, no violence. But however, I'm not an idiot to what kind of world we live in. Okay, and I'm not unaware of the measures, the things that have to happen in order for us to live this American lifestyle. I'm not at all, So would I ever promote war? No, but I'm not an idiot, and I understand that sometimes you have to meet force with force. And I also understand that a lot of these situations that are happening overseas, we as citizens aren't getting the whole picture. And then plus, like you said, people's lives are involved. Like if you don't agree with the war, that's fine, but understand that there's whole families that were torn apart by this on both sides. So certain comments you just need to maybe not make on the internet. But I agree with you. Sometimes you gotta let them know. But however, when venting, sometimes your vent could become it could turn, you could end up becoming the one thing you weren't, with the very thing you hate. So
You'll
that's
pull
the
Anakin Skywalker on everybody.
You will end up becoming the like. So that's why it's a delicate tightrope, because I've been there too. Like, I try to make it a point not to call people names on the internet, other than I'll say you sound uneducated at best, because it's not about you being uneducated. It's like these words that you're using they sound that way. But I try not to call people names, because I feel like that's a slippery slope for me, because I'm from Atlanta. So
yeah,
real quick, you know what I'm saying? And Kim know what I'm talking about. If too many insults thrown back and forth, then we going in. Okay, so let's go to Tim, and then after Tim, we'll head to our final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm right there with Nick, 100%. But I also agree with Daria. I refuse to insult anyone in any manner on social media, because it doesn't do anything for me. Like, I get nothing out of it.
Right.
My pet peeve is bad logical arguments. Like, really, and I'm like not talking about a difference of opinion. I'm talking about like just really, really bad logical arguments. And then I will find some piece of information, and I will just write a paragraph and send, and then like 2 minutes later I forgot about it. And
right.
And that's generally like how I go about my triggers. What's really funny is I've noticed that generally Republicans are way worse at taking those than liberal people.
Well, because I'm gonna tell you why. People on the, I'm not even gonna say liberals, people on the blue side of the aisle, we're used to criticizing each other. We don't just agree. We know that's true. We don't just agree with anything and everything you say just because you're a Democrat. You need to make sense. We need it. And then if you say you're gonna do something and you don't do it, we're gonna talk shit about you. It's like being black. Like in the family, like when you go to the cookout, right? And somebody it's like we're gonna talk shit about you to your face. But ain't gonna be no. But see, we're not that family where everyone has this thing going on. We're not talking about. You know what I'm saying? Republicans.
He's a Republican. You can't call him out because he's on the same side as you.
That's what it feels like when it comes to Republicans. With Republicans, it's like, look, we're all Republicans, so we can't actually hold each other up to the fire. But maybe if we did, we wouldn't get people that were so destructive.
That's why
get people. Go ahead.
That's why I refuse to join Parler.
I don't even know what that is. I've heard about it.
It's like Twitter for conservatives.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, don't. You need to have an episode about that shit. I promise you.
I have to find out. I'll do my research. Okay.
In granted, like, I think that they have the right idea, because Twitter goes about censoring a lot of stuff that, in my opinion, I don't think they should be censoring, but just because I believe
Twitter's private, though. Twitter is not obligated.
It's considered free speech, though.
No. But Twitter is not a government entity, so it can allow whatever it wants to allow.
Okay,
here's
so
my thing, though.
Twitter.
Wait. Okay, go ahead. I was about to say it's off topic, but it's not, because it's social media. Let's go.
You can make that argument, but the way that the legislation has been set up to regulate social media platforms is different than the way that like news organizations have been set up or things like that. So news organizations are publishers. They're responsible for everything that gets said on their platform, period, regardless, no matter what, right?
Mm-hmm.
But social media platforms have basically renounced themselves, and they said, we are a free speech platform, therefore we're not responsible for anything that gets said on our platform, right?
Okay.
And as such, they're not publishers, therefore they should not also be able to censor what is said on their platform.
That's where I have a problem.
Unless it goes against their bylaws, right? But if their bylaws are inherently biased, which is, I would argue that they are. Some people would argue that they're not, right? Difference of opinion. I think there are arguments to be made there.
There are definitely arguments to be made there. When I talk about Twitter censoring stuff, I look at it like this. They say they're a platform for free speech, but just because I'm a platform for free speech doesn't mean I got to let everybody talk.
Right.
I mean, if I own a bar and you come in and you're 21, but the last time you was here, you was trying to fight everybody, bye. I don't have to serve you. Tanya?
I think Twitter understands the
Right.
social responsibility of what free speech means. There are consequences for when you have a platform and a lot of followers going on. You have a responsibility to honor the truth to some degree, even if
Then
there's a
it's-
perspective to that truth. That's fine. But
Then
when
it's
you
not free speech.
No. There's a difference between free speech without consequences and free speech with responsibility behind it. So if you are a person with a platform, if you're Joe Blow and you're saying stuff off the cuff, who cares what you say and what your two followers believe in and trust in what you've said. But if you are a person with all kinds of followers and somebody who directs audience, you lead crowds of people.
Millions.
It matters what you say, and if there is nobody saying, by the way, this comment is disputed by other people, if there is not some kind of flag that identifies that somebody on a large degree disagrees with what you've said, then there's no trigger, there's no flag to tell anybody that this might not be the truth. Maybe you need to look into it.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying, but again, there's a difference between censoring and flagging. I think huge distinction. I don't necessarily have issues with flagging. I'm literally talking about censoring. Like, I don't agree with your opinions and what you're saying, and therefore nobody will see this. Or
I haven't seen Twitter do that recently.
Yeah, they did it to the New York Post. For 3 weeks, they shut down the New York Post. And the New York Post is the
Twitter
fourth
does
biggest
do
news.
that. I will say
Yeah,
Twitter they will clock you out. They will be like, nope, you're not talking for a minute.
Yeah, the
But
problem
are
is
we
that when
not-
they were
Oh, Facebook has
Sorry, go
jail
ahead.
time too. You can
Yeah.
go to jail. for
And
the
so
same thing.
you can't say you're about free speech
Girl,
when
just
you're
hop
not
in there.
about free speech.
You might as well
Like,
just hop in there.
go ahead.
I don't, because like I have a personal like actual situation that happened,
Okay.
and I had several friends that had to go through this. Like several people had to go through the same thing, and it doesn't, after a certain point, it goes into a line of censoring. So like, for example, and not just on Twitter, like for example, I have a completely new Facebook right now because my old Facebook got completely disabled, and it's because I am constantly speaking about like political issues, and I don't have to say anything wrong. I don't have to call anybody out their name. I could say Trump did this, and then I get a ban for 30 days. Like, and it could be factual. I could literally have a link there, and it's banned. And I literally got my entire Facebook disabled, as well as several other people who are very political, because they are very open about political issues. After a certain point, that is censorship. It is
Right.
not just taking
So
it away
you feel
because it's not
like
factual.
social media, y'all feel like social media platforms have a responsibility to not censor their content?
yes.
Unless it is
Really?
Yes.
legally
Why?
hate speech, I don't think it should be censored.
So
Yeah, if
why
it's
do
like
they have
lewd
that?
or
My
like-
question is, why do they have that responsibility?
Because they're not a publisher. Legally, they're not liable for anything said on their platform.
They're just
So
a
why,
platform.
right? Why
Yes.
should they? Why
They
should
are-
they? Why should they?
I'm
be
mad
the
at that
ones-
the whole top row except me is looking at me like
I think
that.
it's concerning that we would be okay with what happens if Twitter just decides, and I'm going to use Twitter as the example. Okay, it could be any of the platforms if you will refer to it that way. What if they just decide that they feel a different way, like under a change of ownership, CEO, whatever, whoever like the chairman of the company is, they decide they want to go a different direction with thoughts and feelings, or they take they realize, oh, hey, we could make one candidate look really good on our platform, and it's going to put money in this dude's pocket, and then they can censor things or flag them or control the flow of that information in a particular way that they want to influence certain things. And while I
Facebook
don't,
has literally done that.
yes, which is why that's very concerning. That is totally wrong. Should you be banned from something if you post some like nudie pictures or some like mature content? Absolutely. Like that's not the same thing.
Oh, really?
But if you post something like, hey, Trump did this, or just like, Trump's stupid, you shouldn't be banned for that. It shouldn't get you banned. Like you shouldn't be muted. You shouldn't be flagged. People should, it's a responsibility of the human being to be able to understand like the content. I think where Twitter's at right now with the flagging saying, hey, official sources called this other way. That's okay. That's all right.
It's okay. That was okay.
If
That was
it
what I was
goes
gonna say.
farther, if it goes any
No, to
farther,
me,
we're going to be a
with-
real problem because
I feel like when we're talking about stuff like because the first time I've ever seen it being an issue, because I'm not on Twitter, is the Trump Twitters that were all saying that he won the election. I have no problem with them censoring that, because like there's zero evidence to say that there's nothing that supports that. So that is just his opinion. That is his thought. As of now, like people want to debate, oh, well, they haven't finished recounting. Even where they are recounting, it's still not looking good. So unless freaking Glenda pops up real quick, that is what it is. So they shouldn't let that be on their platform, because it's not only false, it's also damaging because of his followers. He's got 70 million people who, despite everything he did, still would follow him, and who just had a million MAGA march.
Which I think is partly why
we gotta go to sorry, Nick. I hate to do this. We gotta go to, so whatever you're about to say, don't just hold it to your final thought.
You're good.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
So we're going to our final thoughts for tonight. It always heats up right when I'm about to go to final thoughts. But because everybody got comfortable. But before we go to final thoughts, take one pause for a 30-second ad break.
Hi, this is Cody from Cody Paul Media. Thank you for joining me. Anybody can record a video, but the question is, how do you make that video stand out among the rest? A quick animated video like this one can change things around for your company, so go to codypaulmedia.com and get those needs met today. See you later.
That is Cody Paul Media. You can find him at codypaulmedia.com. An internet editor, content creator, animator extraordinaire. codypaulmedia.com. All right. Now it's time for final thoughts. Final thoughts works like this. We're going to go to each panelist, and they're going to let us know our final thoughts about tonight's main topic, about tonight's current event topics, or just how they're feeling in general about what they learned, what they experienced, or what they hope you at home got to experience as well. So let's go to Kim to start it off.
Why are you always gonna stop?
Cause I miss you, Kim. I miss you.
You're picking on me.
No, I love you. That's really I do.
That, like you said, social media is what you put into it. You know, some people take it way more serious than others. I'm not one of those people. Get out of it what you put into it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't take it. I don't take it serious. Yes.
Excellent. Great. Let's go to Alden.
Yeah. Just like him said, you definitely get put out of it. In all honesty, my mindset has definitely changed about it. I would definitely be posting more me physically instead of letting other people do it. And thanks for having me on, man. I'd love to do it again.
Absolutely. Now I don't know who to go to. Let's go to Nick first.
So just like I was saying at the end there, just remember whatever you ask for your political side, whatever you believe in, however you think you should be treated, whatever you want to protest, and however you want to go about it, that's great. The other side gets those same rights and privileges. You want your speech to be unhinged and just people. You want to be able to put out your information. The other side should get that exact same treatment. So let's all keep that in mind when we want to talk about,
Correct.
Protesting or standing up for what we believe is right. That other side, that other opinion, no matter what you think of it, in this country, unfortunately, they have the exact same rights and privileges. And that's the way it goes.
All right. Tanya?
I guess what frustrates me and scares me about social media is people's lack of information literacy, their inability to distinguish the truth from lies, and how many times a lie can be repeated before it starts to seed doubt in people's minds. No matter how off it is from reality. So for that, I don't, I'm not crazy about it in general, but I have learned a lot tonight. All of you have given me something new to think about and given me some new perspective, and I appreciate that.
Excellent. You can follow Dr. Tanya at Twitter at Tanya Davis 1975.
Thank you.
Tanya spelled with a Y. Right. No, I mean, I'll just say it. It's on the screen.
Thank you.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Let's go to Timmy. Timmy.
So I disagree with Nick. Before I get to my final thoughts, I disagree with Nick. I think that it is a great fortune that we have freedom of speech.
That's not what I meant when I said unfortunate.
Okay.
I meant unfortunately for the particular person. It's unfortunate for you, but that's the way it works.
Oh,
I got you. Okay.
I was about to say, what?
Yeah, I think the First Amendment is very, very, very important. Probably the second most important one. But in terms of social,
the second most important one. I'm sure I can guess which one you think is the first.
In terms of social media, I think it is probably one of the greatest gifts that we have. In terms of the information that we can have access to, the connection that we have with other people. Durye's entire career right now is based on social media, and that was unheard of 10, 15 years ago.
Yep.
My mom sells baked goods on Instagram.
Yep.
And she's 65 years old. Like, I think that the opportunities and jobs that it's created far outweigh the hate that underlines the platform. But I think those hateful people are hateful regardless. I think it's up to people like us that are having these conversations to ensure that we are doing our best to create environments of positivity and communication to, reach forward for the betterment for all of us.
Excellent. You can find Tim. Is that Twitter or is that Instagram?
That's Instagram. I don't post much, so.
Okay, on Instagram at DehaasFact, DeHaas Fact. All right, and Cece, talk to me.
Just like Tanya said, like this was very enlightening and I enjoyed this like very much. And I think my last thought about social media is it is what you make it. It's about who you follow. It's about, how you use it. So, I mean, like I said earlier, it can definitely be a double-edged sword. You find it your own niche, like you make it your own thing.
Okay. Excellent. So before we go into my final thoughts, as always, I want to thank everyone who's either listening or who's watching live or who's watching this later or the repost. We've had a lot of people who are watching this after the fact and listen to it afterward. You all make this show important and make it what it is. If you would like to be a panelist, please hit us up at admin@woenellymedia.com. That's Woe, WOENELLY media.com. I would love to have you on. We did somehow get disconnected from Miss Cassie, but hopefully we'll get her back on and have a stronger connection next time. I also want to say thank you to my panelists because it's been brought up here about this platform. The beautiful thing, I mean, I'm here and I'm always, stirring the pot, but to use you all as an example for people who can disagree and know how to disagree and know how to communicate and see past the disagreement and still see the person. You all are a shining example, and not just this panel, but every panel of what the world needs more of. And so I do agree with Tim's statement in that way. I also agree for my final thought with Tim in that social media is a huge blessing for me, man. Social media has kept me connected with some people that are incredibly important to me that I know if social media wasn't around, I wouldn't know Kim. I wouldn't know her, but we definitely wouldn't be able to connect with each other the way we are. My best friends that I've had since I was 5, I can talk to. So, and I know that my mother, when social media came out, she was reconnecting with people that I don't have to go through that. I don't have to lose connection. So, but the flip side of it is someone said this in the comment. They said suicide rates amongst children are really high, skyrocketing. So for all the positive that social media does, it also has the flip side. So if you're at home and you have kiddies, I'm not telling you how to parent. just make sure that, reinforce the things Tanya said about thinking for yourself and understanding what's a lie and what's truth, and having self-worth and self-love, because our first idols are our parents anyway, for the most part. So I hope that this information finds you well and that you spread some love to everybody else out there. Next week, there may be a show. I'm not sure. We're getting it together. So if you're got something to do, family sitting around after you're all turkeyed and all sleepy, tune in and we will be there. Thank you all so much for being here on another edition of Talk It Out, where this is a place where people of opposing views, as we saw tonight, can come together and have healthy, productive dialogue in a respectful way, keeping in mind that it is not always about proving who's right or who's wrong. Sometimes it's simply about listening and being heard. Have a good night.
We the vote, Georgia the vote.